What is up YouTube, it's Kingfisher745, and in this video we're going to continue the task list for Spec Op 33. Unfortunately, we're only going up to the next research, which I believe is the third research in this one. That's in part because it is going to take longer and I'm running out of unstable ISO 8 since I can't collect any daily gifts. But we start where we last left off, and that was the research of the Cybernetic Glove. So we'll get that and 1200 XP. And after that, you're going to have to go and equip the Cybernetic Glove and use it in combat twice. Now I actually didn't notice that you had to use it twice, I thought only once. So I had to take it into 2 fights. What you're seeing here is the second fight, so basically the end of the task. And we're doing this outside the Spec Op. We actually went into Chapter 10. You know what's nice about these missions? We can use whoever we want. So the fact that we have the hero means we can actually use them in battle. Pretty novel idea. Now I'm kind of kidding. They're kind of trying to change things up in the Spec Op. I understand what they're trying to do. At the same time, cutting off our items and putting us against the most annoying enemies ever created probably was going too far. But hey, at least we don't have to face any isosaurs here. And we only have to use that glove one more time. So following this blade punch, we're going to go ahead and use that on the top enemy. That should knock her out. I've noticed it does very nice damage. So the Deathlok fist actually has me pretty interested. It looks like it's going to do a lot more damage. Now as for these particular enemies, Iron Patriot's going to easily end this fight. So we do have to take one more attack. Absorb energy will drop her. And then I'll just use a plasma blade on the Reaver. So that's going to be it. That'll be the next task down. It didn't take too long. And in this case, it didn't cost us any unstable ISO 8. Besides completing it, we also got 1 CP. I'll be honest with you though, I'm not worried about my command points running out, maybe ever again. We're at 838 at this point. And I have every hero and every costume. So I highly doubt they're going to release enough to take it down. Anti-flag, task number 13 is to defeat the Flag Smasher. He's a mini-boss in Mission 2. So we do have to begin Mission 2 and clear up to him. Skipping ahead to the actual fight, it's going to be a forced team up with Hawkeye and Kate Bishop. But that's a pretty good team up. I honestly don't expect this one to go too long, especially once Hawkeye gets rolling. My strategy is we're going to go right after the boss and try to eliminate him first. The henchmen in this case though are very annoying. They're going to both counter every time you hit one of them. As far as I can remember, these ultimatum guys, I think that's what they're called, were some of the other most annoying henchmen in the game. So it's pretty funny they're in Mission 2, and the isosaurs are in Mission 1. Real clever, PD. Maybe their goal was to frustrate everyone with this Spec Op. If so, mission accomplished. But like I said, we're going after Flag Smasher, and so we attack him with our level 9. This causes Hawkeye to join in, and he'll take him down. So only the 2 grunts are remaining. And Kate Bishop's going to get another attack. So this time we'll fire on the blaster, and we end up knocking him out as well. Plus we get to attack the Revolutionary. This team is pretty sick, and I used to love using them. Maybe it'll be a decent time to pull them out again, especially since they do only ranged attacks. That's much better than only doing melee attacks. But there we go, we've dropped the final enemy, and that means the task is done. So as a reward we get 15,000 silver, and then we can move on to number 14. Well, we kind of thought this would come, but at least it's only win 2 PvP battles. At this point, we had just done a ton of fights, so I really didn't want to go back. But we did. At this point, I had just switched back to Kurth and Null, and we know Meteor Swarm's going to be effective again. And boy is it ever. Plus with the new AISOs, I love putting Endemic on Kurth's level 6 Fear Me. And then, although it's not as effective because it's not an AoE debuff, we still put the lethal on her level 9, and that causes despair. Pretty sick. The new augmented ISO are so incredible, you have to pick at least one up. Now if you don't have the Ionic Devourer, then you do want to put the lethal on her Fear Me instead. But since we are using that, that's why I went with Endemic. That suppresses most effects that prevent or remove debuffs. So just like the Scroll of Rutmaroth or Beast, it's absolutely game changing. So basically with an AoE debuff, you can place Endemic, mimicking those two, and or you can put the Despair AISO on it, and then that causes an AoE Despair. Those were the first two that I bought. But another one causes flank to a single target melee attack, and then there's a protect one that grants a heal. Besides those 4 amazing AISO, there's also a new EISO in the store, and it gives you a chance to prevent your attacks from being interrupted. If you haven't checked them out, you definitely want to. On the podcast on Tuesday, I mentioned that Electro also has an AoE debuff, so you're going to see some of that coming up soon. We have a lot more that we want to cover, and I'm going to try to put out some extra videos this week, so I'm going to do my best to get to everything I can. By the way, Kurth isn't the only one who got a ton better with those new AISO. There's plenty of characters with debuffs, and think of Pestilence Beast with Despair added on his debuff. Pretty nasty. But with this battle down, I don't want to show both fights because you get the picture and I don't want the video to go too long. So here it is, the task is complete, and we got 1200 XP. 415, Death by. Defeat Deathlocket. She's the boss of Spec Op 33, Mission 2. And this is going to be the only task before we get to the next research. So we'll go ahead and jump over to it, and the team up is going to be with Cap, and I think Chase Stein as well. So they make you use these two. You can at least put a lot of flank on the enemies and get a bunch of follow-up attacks. So that's one good thing. Right away in this fight, we're going to try to take down MODOK. We're just focusing on the mini-boss. And the other mini-boss we already had to beat earlier, so he's not going to be in this one. With the flanked, we're going to do a pretty good job. We take him down to 6400 HP. And then I figured we'll go ahead and use our Boom Boom Pow and follow that up with a fire starter. But this is going to leave him just alive. That's really unfortunate because I'd rather him not get his 2 attacks. But in the meantime, the Pyro is going to use a melee attack, which is a bad choice. And so we absorb energy and counter. Then after an armor-piercing round, we get a counterattack on the Ballista as well. MODOK actually is going to heal, but Chase Stein does hit him, and that takes him down a little bit again. Then we'll finish him with Captain Steve Rogers, heal our team and restore our stamina, and our agent will finish off the final henchman. I'll just use a Blade of the Guardian attack, and that's easily going to do it. Plus it gives us a buff. Then in the second wave, we have to face 2 Vanguards. They are a bit annoying because they're infiltrators. But we're going to go ahead and flank the top target. But Cap is in his tactician costume. And for his next 2 attacks, he's just going to miss this infiltrator. Still though, we should be able to take them down with my agent and Chase Stein, who's at least a scrapper. Our first Blade of the Guardian does hit, and then Chase is going to get to use Get 'em Old Lace and a follow-up attack. This nearly knocks out the Vanguard, but after he chooses to melee us, he's gone down to absorb energy. So we're finally going to the boss wave, and she will be accompanied by 2 minions. They're really obsessed with melee attacking our agent, and a single counter is going to take down one of them. The Adjudicator is going to get a little bit more lucky because he at least doesn't take a counter, but with Steve Rogers, we're going to go ahead and boost this one along by using a Chrono Accelerator on our agent, something we can't do in Mission 1. And with him, we're going to heavily debuff the enemies. And this is all in preparation for our final Atom Smasher. So the ultimate play here is to go ahead and use Improbability Field, and then with our second normal action, the Atom Smasher. My apologies to Deathlocket again. I don't think we've seen her attack a single time. But it is what it is. And this is good for mission score. So there's a big knockout. And we're going to get a nice score at 105,000. We also complete task number 15 and get the blueprint for the plasma launcher. This will end up bringing us to our final task of the video, the very next research. Oh, and we also unlocked mission 3. Besides that, we'll also take a look at the roulette because I'm mainly curious what new ISO's on it. These seem to vary a bit. And for this roulette, it's the collapsing AISO 8. This is for a ground attack, and it says equipped ground attack applies fumbling and hobbled. 2 very nice debuffs. And we also have a chance at the Deathlok eye, which I don't really care too much about. But let's hope we win something good. And we don't. So moving on to task number 16. You have to recover 1 Deathlok tech component, then create the plasma launcher in the lab. We'll head over to there and see what else it costs. Then we'll get the third research rolling. Okay, it's going to take 1 day, 40 unstable ISO 8, and 5,000 silver. So we'll start that, and we'll be back as soon as possible. That's going to be it for part 2, but I want to thank you all for watching. Ask you to please like, comment, and subscribe. Then until next time, good luck, and take care.